All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. It is Thursday, July 24th, and we have just a 5-game MLB slate to dive into in today's video. Like we always do, I'm going to dive into each and every one of these games, so all 5 of them. I'll give you my prediction on the side. I'll give you my prediction on the total. We'll talk about any other plays like player props that we like within the game as well. But as always, guys, keep an eye down on the pinned comment of this video. That'll take you to all of my final plays, so I'm actually rolling with myself. If that does interest you, if you do want to fade me, all of that will be absolutely free down in the pinned comment. In terms of how we did yesterday, let's take a cha-ching. We go 4-1. We did have the one push in there. Mike Toglia did not start. Our only loss of the day was the Astros and the Diamondbacks. That did not come through us. We had the over, but we had the Reds money line. That cashes. We had the Cubs and the Dodgers team total parlay. That cashes. The Red Sox over cashes. And then our last play was what ended up being our first play was the Padres and the Marlins first 3 unders. So you know what? One more cha-ching because we're on a nice little 9-3 run over the last couple days. We shall take it. The ride of the day does not bring the vibes down whatsoever. Debo, OG of the channel, keeps up with us. It's pumping some crowd noise for my man here. Bailey Falter, under 5.5 hits allowed. We got the ride of the day tracker updated here. You can see he cashes that one for plus 100. If you guys don't know what the ride of the day is, it's simple. Just use that hashtag ride of the day down in the comments, or ROTD. I jump on board with one person's play each and every day. If you do hit, you get a shout out in the next video, win or loss. But if you do hit, we continue to roll and ride of your play. So looking forward to seeing what my man drops today. If you do lose, you still get the shout out, but you got to face the womp womp from the soundboard. We've already dropped a couple cha-chings and pumped in some crowd noise. Soundboard's getting some action today. But let's go ahead and dive into today's slate, guys. Make sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Only 5 games. Only thing that I would say here, and if you take anything away from this video, you know you don't need to force anything with a 5-game slate, right? It's the worst thing you could do, kind of being like, oh, well, I want the same amount of action that I normally have. This is literally 1/3 of what we normally see from an MLB slate. So just keep it in the back of your mind. If you love something, sure, fire on it. But let's make sure that we love the things that we're actually putting our hard-earned bread on, right? Let's dive into game number 1 here. Cleveland taking on Baltimore. So Cleveland's won the first 3 games of this series, and their offense has looked very good. Now, yesterday they only won 3-2. Today, I don't necessarily love the idea of Cleveland winning 4 straight. I think that they're the better offense. I still want to see some more consistency, even though it's been 8 or 9 games of them looking pretty damn good offensively. But it comes down to Logan Allen versus Charlie Morton, and I'm not exactly sure where to come out on this one. Logan Allen has definitely had his ups and downs, which kind of worries me, He's been pitching fairly consistently, but still not all that trustworthy. Charlie Morton was pitching really well and then got hit up by Tampa Bay. I turn to this, and we'll flash it up on the screen here, to kind of put me over the edge. I do slightly lean towards Baltimore, so we'll throw that up on the screen in a second. But Logan Allen, his career against the Baltimore Orioles roster, 26 plate appearances against, small sample size, but the K rate's not great. The walk rate's not great. The average against, not great. The expected batting average against gets a little better, but still, WOBA of 489. Don't love that, absolutely, right? Charlie Morton actually has some decent numbers here. 226 expected batting average against, an expected WOBA of 318. So I think for me, and it's kind of crazy, we'll sound the psycho alert alarm here. I do think that I ultimately lean towards Baltimore. Do I get there myself? Probably not, right? I do still think that Cleveland's the better squad, but again, in my brain, I'm like, well, this is going to be a 4-game sweep. That is damn hard to do. If you were going to do it, it would be at home, and I get that, but to me, I like the Orioles. I'm also going to lean slightly towards the under, similar to what I was talking about before, though I don't think Logan Allen's all that great. I also don't think Charlie Morton's all that great. Then why the hell do you like the under? Well, I just don't necessarily love either one of these offenses. Even Cleveland, as good as they've been, they still, if you kind of zoom out a little bit, have struggled to some degree, and you could say the same exact thing about Baltimore, right? Now, you're going to get fastball, curveball from Charlie Morton, fastball, curveball, not all that great in terms of Cleveland hitting it, even if you look down towards the players, right? And you're going to get fastball slider here from, obviously, Logan Allen. You're going to get fastball cutter as well. And those pitches don't necessarily scare me. Now, Baltimore, sure, they have a few guys that can hit the slider. It's really the top of that order. Kind of another reason to lean towards them. In terms of a player prop, I do like the idea of Colton Cowser under 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs. He's just really bad against lefties. Obviously, I think we've taken him a couple times, and he's burned us a couple times. But still, that lefty-righty split could be something worth considering in this spot. All right, next game up, we have Detroit taking on Toronto. Detroit coming off of getting swept by Pittsburgh. They lose 3-0, 8-5, and then 6-1. So only one of those games, the offense looked okay, right? I mean, they did get Skeens, and then they also got Falter, who's a lefty. But they have another lefty today in Eric Lauer. Now, Lauer, I wouldn't sit here and be like, oh my God, he's so good. But this guy's turning into a pretty reliable pitcher, right? He's got a 2-flat ERA over his last 5 starts here, averaging 6 strikeouts per game, just 1 walk, less than a home run per game. So I kind of like the idea of him in this spot against a Detroit team that we can even see with the dashboard, right? The Detroit team that has struggled against lefties. Throw in the fact that you have Reese Olson on the mound, who I give you is a good pitcher, and I really do like him, right? A little bit worse against righties. A lot of righties in this lineup. And the sinker slider are going to be his number 1 and 2 pitches. Well, check this out. The sinker and the slider, decent pitches that this Baltimore team can hit, right? That sinker especially. Even if you want to say, okay, well, that fastball that he's going to throw 24% of the time, Toronto hits it. Now, Toronto's been hitting everything lately, right? They're coming off of winning 2 of 3 against the Yankees. So maybe this is a flat spot because that was such a big series for them, and Detroit's got a little fire under their ass, sure. But realistically, if you put everything in a vacuum, I don't see it that way. So I think Blue Jays at plus money is the spot. I will say, and I will note, doesn't that just smell a little bit like a trap? Like, why the heck is this Blue Jays team better bullpen, better offense? You can argue, debate, just as consistent of a pitcher. Why the hell are they plus money? So that might be enough to make me a little worrisome about this thing, especially coming off of that Yankees series. But the numbers don't lie, right? This Blue Jays team should be able to put up a number. Even if they get to that Detroit bullpen, I don't mind it. So Blue Jays and their team total over. I don't necessarily love the idea of Detroit hitting either this bullpen or the starter, but if I had to pick a total in terms of over under that 9, I probably still would lean slightly to the over, because I think this Tigers lineup is a little bit better than they have been playing. I think we should all think that, But Blue Jays and their over is probably where I'd go in this one. But again, really not trying to force anything today. Really trying to stay disciplined. I think that'll be huge. Now, guys, real quick, before we do move on with the rest of the slate, I do want to shout out Novig. If you have not jumped on board yet, you need to do so, and I mean that. There's a link down in the description as well as the pinned comment if you want to sign up. It's going to operate just like your normal sports book, only you're going to have, it's a peer-to-peer exchange, so you're going to have way better lines and way better odds like 90% of the time. I'm not even kidding. You don't have to pay the VIG, hence the name Novig. So go ahead and check it out. That link will be down below in the description as well as the pinned comment, and like I mentioned, it is perfect for anyone out there, and you should be doing this, that is line shopping, odd shopping, and trying to get the best price, especially in a sport like baseball. If you can get a minus 115 when most books are at minus 125, that 10 cents goes such a long way because there's so many games and so many plays throughout an MLB season. So add this to your repertoire. I promise you'll like it. If you're in one of the blue highlighted states and you're not on it yet, you're absolutely missing out on some of the best lines. And you're probably thinking, how the heck can they get better lines like this? Why is there no VIG? Because it is a peer-to-peer exchange. So I could go on there right now and say Blue Jays plus 150 is a line that I want, and then people out there can see that and take the other side of it. So it's not this book that's just coming up with a line and then they're taking the percent of it. You know what I mean? So it's really, really cool, and I do think that this is and could be the future of where the sports betting industry is going. So check it out, guys. Link down below in the description as well as the pinned comment. Check out Novig. Let's jump back into these games. All right, St. Louis taking on San Diego. I think where I'd go in this one before anything, I guess, might be looking at an under. Now, you see on the screen, first 3, first 5, full game under is kind of what I'm kicking around, and it's for a couple different reasons. So if we do jump into our dashboard here over on GuyBostonSports.com, by the way, guys, if you want access to this dashboard, I've shown it a couple times. This is the front-facing one. We've been on the back end. Head over to GuyBostonSports.com, head to the members area, and sign up for the MLB dashboard. But what I like here is the fact that we have Sonny Gray and Yu Darvish on the bump. I'm really liking the pitch mix that we'll see from both of these guys. And I also leaned Cardinals, but we'll talk about it in a second. The reason I like the under is you're going to get the slider-sinker combo, right, from Yu Darvish. Look at this. The sinker and slider combo is just pretty damn poor in terms of St. Louis hitting it. Even from a player perspective, that sinker goes almost across the board. In fact, everyone has, in the last 30 days, a negative runs above average. So I think Yu Darvish could be okay, even if he isn't. The bullpen's in decent shape, right? Now you flip it over to why Sonny Gray is going to be good. Well, Sonny Gray is a very good pitcher. He has a great pitch mix. The only thing that it looks like this is a bad pitch against would be the fastball, but San Diego's not even hitting righties last 30 days that much, and St. Louis has a decent bullpen, right? And check out these players. Only a couple guys have an average that's even near 300 against righties, and then an OPS, around 750. So I think we could be in store for a low-ish scoring game. Not all that afraid of either one of these offenses at the moment. So yeah, some form of an under. I do think that there's a chance an under could be a final play here today. I just have to figure out what I like. First 3 full game or first 5. Maybe we split like we put a third of a unit on each of those or something silly like that, right? But the reason I do like the Cardinals is I do think there's a strong starting pitching advantage. Sonny Gray's coming off of getting smacked by the Diamondbacks too. Yu Darvish has been okay in his few starts this year, but nothing special. Now he's gone up against Arizona, Philadelphia, and Washington. Washington's kind of hitting right now, so maybe we cut him a little bit of slack, but either way, I still think Sonny Gray in a bounce back spot is the advantage. So that's kind of why I pivot to the Cardinals if I had to pick a side, but I do think both pitchers could be decent here today. In terms of player props, I'm still digging in this one. I don't want to say that there won't be any, because I do think that, especially because I like the under, we could take some unders on players, which is kind of what we like the most. But nothing to share as of right now. But if you see any in there, it's just going to be because of the lefty-righty, or I guess, batting lefty-righty splits against these pitchers. So Cardinals, but some form of an under is probably what I like the most in this one. All right, next game we have Houston taking on the Athletics, and I know there's some Houston injuries and whatnot, but this line is a little fishy to me. Now, we do have a disadvantage on the pitching side of things. Jason Alexander pitching for the Astros here, and actually I think he pitched for the A's earlier in the year, right? Luis Severino on the mound for the Athletics. So I will admit that, Severino's been decent over his last couple starts, but that was against Toronto, give him credit there, and then Cleveland kind of before they really kicked it into gear. So I sit there and I'm kind of like, all right, what are we going to do with Severino? Flip it over to the Houston side of things. Yes, you have Alexander, who already pitched against this Athletics team this season. He had 2 earned over 6 innings. So yeah, his first real start there. And he was with Milwaukee prior to, now that I think about it. But the thing with him is we don't know exactly how many innings we're probably going to get. If he pitches a full game, I really don't mind his pitch mix against this Athletics team. He's going to throw the sinker 62% of the time, and he's going to hopefully keep the ball on the ground, which is great. But this is an Athletics team that is 5th worst at hitting the sinker over the last 30 days. Now you take a peek at Severino. He's going to throw the fastball, cutter, sinker, and slider. The fastball, Houston, number 2 in terms of runs above average last 30 days. The cutter, that's where you could get me at 24th. That's not all that great. But the sinker, number 2, and the slider, number 9. So this Houston team, I think, could put up a decent number. The price doesn't make sense. I think it's because of the pitching. So I'm going to lean Houston as well as the Astros team total over. I do think Houston money line could be a final play here today. The thing that I'll say, if you're liking the A's and whatnot and back in Severino, I do understand it, right? This is an Athletics team that technically had to travel less to get to this game. Houston, coming off of a series in Arizona, has to travel back home. The Athletics just played the Rangers, so same state, so they actually probably have less of a travel, and you have the starting pitching advantage. Where I think you'll lose me is if you start talking about the offenses and you start talking about the bullpens. I think Houston takes home the cake in both of those. So yeah, it's going to be either Astros or Astros team total over. Probably thinking Astros is the main play here. Again, I think you're getting a nice discount because of the pitching names, meaning you have some consumable odds. I have this one around Houston minus 140, so I think that 17 cents of value can go a long way. All right, last game on the board. If you guys made it this far into the video, go ahead and comment 13 down below. Lucky number 13 on this fine Thursday. If you made it this far, I really do appreciate you. But let's dive into this one. We got the Angels taking on Seattle, and there's a bunch of angles we could take to get to the Angels. Angles to Angels. The problem is, are we really going to be looking at this Angels squad, which I don't really trust as far as I could throw them, for minus 130 and beyond as a price tag? That ends up seeming a little crazy to me, especially they just got swept by the Mets. They travel back home from, the Mets to, obviously, LA there. So it's kind of tough. Seattle lost 2 of 3 against Milwaukee. Maybe they come in with a little bit of fire under there. You know what? But we do have Yusei Kikuchi on the mound, and he's been very, very good at home. And the cool thing about this is, I don't know why I say cool, but look at you pick out a few pitches that this Seattle team doesn't hit. Slider being one, fastball being another. Slider, fastball are going to be the two pitches that we're going to see from Kikuchi for the majority of it, right? That's going to make up 40.4 and 42.4. So you're looking at 82.8. Almost 83% of his pitch mix is going to be the fastball and slider combo. Logan Evans, on the other hand, is going to throw the cutter. Okay, that's fine, whatever. The slider, they hit well. The sinker, middle of the pack. The curveball, they hit well. So, and this team is actually hitting fairly well as of right now, right? So there's a lot of ways to get to this Angels squad. Like I said, a lot of angles to get to the Angels. The problem is I don't like the price. I was hoping we'd get this at like maybe even a pick 'em, but seems like it's far gone. So I still do lean Angels. But I think that this is probably somewhat of an under, like a 5-4 game maximum, which would be a push. So I lean under. And then the two player props I'm liking is going to be Donovan Solano. He's batting just 174 against lefties this year. Kikuchi's been really good at home, and he does not hit the slider all that well. 170 in terms of his WOBA against the slider. Now, he hits the fastball well and the curveball well, but I think that this could be a nice little spot for Kikuchi to kind of, get him out in a sense. I also like Kikuchi's under 5.5 hits. It might be a little too juicy to feel too good about, just due to the fact that, it's at like minus 145 right now, and he really hasn't been trending in that direction. Even though I say he's good at home, I think like 3 of his last 4, he's allowed 6 on the dot, so that would hit the over. But I think Kikuchi could kind of hold his own, especially with that slider and, the fastball combo. So I like both of those player props. I'd say Solano may have a better chance of getting thrown in there, but the problem is taking some of these unders. It's like, yeah, we might get 5 innings of really good pitching against Solano against Kikuchi, and then boom, they get to the bullpen, and I don't like this bullpen. And you can make that same damn argument for the Angels on the money line, right? So it worries me a little bit, but ultimately, I do think that that's probably the 3 things that I'd take a peek at here. And guys, it's going to wrap it up for today's show. Really do appreciate anyone that did stop by, and I mean that. 5-game slate, obviously a quicker video than normal, but I'm sure the Guppies are like, hey, finally this dude didn't ramble forever and ever and ever as I ramble right now. But just wanted to let you guys know that we're still trying to figure out our stream schedule and whatnot. We're going away, yes, Vacation Ev, but hey, Vacation Ev's been cashing this year for the weekend, so you're going to have some hybrid videos. But those have been doing really, really well, and I do like making those. So we'll still stay consistent with the videos, but just wanted to give you a heads up that I won't have a normal format for tomorrow or the next day. So just FYI, really do appreciate you guys tuning in. We'll catch you guys in the next one, right? Peace out.